This is my video to record my progress back to being able to cycle. Currently, I'm unable to. And by March 2018, I'm hoping to be able to ride 9 hours a week up to road and mountain bike from 0 to 9. I hope I can do it. It gives me a little less than 10 months, but that's my goal. Cycling has brought me some of the greatest joys. For 20 years, it's been my sense of identity, it's been my spirituality, it's been my road to healthy living and physically being able to be the best I can be. It's allowed me to see miles and miles of wilderness and desert, travel all over the country, riding my bike, racing. I raced for 17 years, and it's been everything to me. I miss being able to cycle pain-free for a year and a half. Instead of biking, I've dealt with pain, anxiety, depression, because cycling provided me so much of my life. When I lost it, everything seemed to fall apart. I'm not sure how to summarize the events that led to my losing my ability to race and to bike pain-free, but it all involves my knees. In 2013, I got a lateral release, and it worked. A few months of rehab, I was back to racing. In 2015, I got another lateral release on the other leg, and I was back to racing. I was able to finish the season 2015 racing in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Wyoming. But it kind of came to a crashing end. I had to see several doctors, but the problem involved, they thought, the fact that my patella on both knees was missing cartilage. And there was also an area, my medial femoral condyle on my left knee was also missing. And so I had to find a solution. You know, one doctor tell me one thing, another doctor tell me another thing. One doctor said, yeah, you're going to need a total knee replacement on one knee, and just take aspirin and see me in 10 years. And that didn't seem like it was going to work. The best solution I got was an option to put cartilage graft on the both of patellas, and the cartilage graft would kind of form cartilage on the back of the patellas, and it'd be normal. And then I was going to get an inlay for the mediocondral area, and then I'd be right. And so I went to see a doctor in Salt Lake who does the procedures, and he was recommended by St. Luke's. So I thought, well, this might work. He gave me a 90% success rate for the cardiform and the cartilage graft working, and a 98% that the inlay was going to work. So I went for it. Problem is, it didn't work. I knew it didn't work, but I kept having to talk to the doctors, Dr. Davidson out of Park City in Salt Lake, and he would have me come down, check it out, say everything was fine. I'd come back, be hopeful for a little bit, then pretty soon I could tell something wasn't right, it hurt. So I went back to Salt Lake, and he said, oh, everything's fine. Went back and forth, and it was a long and dreary winter. Luckily, my dad went with me, so we made the trip together, and he was great mental support. And at one point, you know, he checked for infection because the swelling wouldn't go down, but I knew something was wrong. And finally, Dr. Davidson admitted that, well, something isn't wrong. What frustrated me is that he didn't call when he got the x-ray or the CT scan, because it showed that the metal from the metal inlay, the medial femoral condyle area, had come down on the tibia, and it was within millimeters, indicating that he dug into my tibia and destroyed all the cartilage on the tibia. So yeah, he admitted I needed a total knee replacement, and perfectly good surgeons do that in Boise, Idaho, so I'll see you later. Fortunately, I did get into a doctor, Dr. Jared Armstrong, and he fixed me up and said, listen, we'll do a total knee replacement on the one knee, then we'll wait, take a look, maybe do a partial on the other knee. So on March 2nd, I had total knee replacement on my left knee, the left knee with the cardiform on the patella and the inlay on the medial femoral condyle. And sure enough, it showed you that the cartilage graft didn't work, wasn't even there, it was crumbling apart. And it clearly showed that the metal inlay had dug a hole into the tibia. And one of the things that confused me is that why didn't he put the plastic piece on the other side of the metal as the manufacturer suggests? But he didn't. And then a few months, painful months later, I got the other leg opened up. This was April 20th, and the doctor found that the cartilage was in great shape. Even the trochlear groove, which is what your patella runs up and down on, was in great shape, but the patella was shot. The cardiform graft had fallen off. There was a big hole in there, and so he was able to do just a partial knee replacement. And though he said it would hurt as much and take a long time to recover, it would definitely give me back my knee in a normal range. And so I'm grateful to Armstrong. But now I've got to do the long and arduous task of recovering. And, you know, I'm giving myself 10 months to make the 9 hours that I want to be able to do, to reach that point where I get the spirituality, the joy, and being able to be myself again. Because cycling is part of who I am. It's how I've identified myself for 20 years, longer maybe. And right now I'm doing nothing. I can walk. The pain's still pretty high. I can do some of the PT, physical therapy, and pretty soon here I'll be starting to spin the bike with no resistance, and I'll increase that, and hopefully it's all going to work. The major worry I have is the tendons, because kind of the tendons is what brought everything on. The tendons were hurting, so I had them looked at, and then they said, well, it's because your patella's not tracking right. And then they said, well, maybe it's because there's no cartilage on the patella. So ultimately, that'll decide whether or not it works. But I've got to be hopeful. I've got a lot of months ahead to make it happen. And I pray that it does.